The Ink and Paint Club podcast is intended for mature audiences only, so don't tell your parents! Listener discretion is advised.
I didn't remember a damn thing other than, "Can you take me higher?"
Oh god, I'm like fucking choking over here.
You're listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast, your weekly home for animation reviews and discussions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ink and Paint Club podcast for this week. My name is JD, and with me, as always, are these two knuckleheads over here, Mr. Kyle.
What's up?
And Mr. Matt.
Hi.
Hello. And
Higher. Can you take me higher?
oh god. I knew. You know, okay. So story time, folks, here. It's my birthday on Tuesday, and as a joke last week, I'm like, hey, I like Titan AE. I fully recognize it's a bad movie, but we should totally cover that. And then they're like, yeah, totally, let's do it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And now Matt will not stop singing Creed.
That's literally the only thing I remembered from this movie since it came out. I must have watched the movie at some point when it came out, but since then, all I remembered was the frequency that commercial, the trailer would be played, and we heard man. Creed all the time. Yeah. And I'm not saying that, and I'm not being like ironic or anything. That song is a bop, like so much so that I literally told JD, I said, I'm not going to do the episode. Like it was today. I said, I'm not going to do the episode unless we have some version of Creed on the intro and outro. And I want a shitty MIDI version.
I'm sure if I remember to put it in, you have already figured out for yourself.
You'd better put it in. We had to listen to that damn thing 5 times. I had to convert the MIDI, and I had to upload it to Mega.
Again, I did not make you do any of this. You did this of your own volition.
You made me do this when you said you wanted to do Titan AE.
I have to pay for my sins now. So yes, everybody, we are talking about the infamous 2000s movie Titan AE, a movie that is unironically, and I mean that unironically, close to my heart in the sense that it is a fond childhood memory of mine. I saw this movie in the theater when I was 9 or 10, however the fuck I was old in 2000. And I remember the trailer to it where it's just blasting Creed. And it was a fun little space adventure, but it killed Don Bluth's career, at least at the time. And essentially sank a movie studio.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit more into that. There's a bit of a story. I've got my notes here on it.
Yeah.
So this movie was like the second and last theatrical release from Fox Animation. The first one being Anastasia, obviously, but of course, before this studio, Don Bluth was a pretty well-known name. He did Secret of Nim, American Tail, Land Before Time. Also co-created Dragon's Lair, which is very iconic video game.
Yeah.
What I didn't know is that a lot of the other movies that he did after that were co-directed by Gary Oldman. Not that Gary Oldman, but a Gary Oldman.
Hey, Gary Oldman.
Like when I was doing my notes, I was like, "What the fuck? No, that can't be right." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, that's a Gary Oldman." So Gary Oldman and Don Bluth co-directed All Dogs Go to Heaven, Rockadoodle, Thumbelina, Troll in Central Park, Anastasia, Bartok the Magnificent, which is the direct-to-DVD sequel to Anastasia. Mm-hmm. And then they also did Pebble and the Penguin, but they actually demanded to go uncredited on that one due to some meddling from MGM, I guess.
Yeah.
That might be worth exploring on a different show, but yeah, I didn't know that there's co-directors and all those. I would just kind of assume, Don Bluth kind of gets talked about, like when you talk about like specific like animation directors, like he's always like on people's like top lists and stuff. Because I mean, you know, a lot of the movies that he does, like they're animated like wonderfully.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I hadn't seen, like I mentioned, I probably saw Titan AE when it came out. I don't remember doing it in the theater. I probably saw it when it came out like on VHS or something. So I didn't remember anything about it other than Creed being played on the trailers.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I don't know that I call it bad, but it's very interesting. I can see why it might have turned some people off.
Yeah, like, so I still like this movie. I've watched it several times since it came out. I probably watch it every couple of years. But this last time, I literally just got done watching it like a half hour ago. Let's just say parts of this movie have not aged well. Mainly the visuals, but
yeah, so that's another thing too about the visuals. Because it's Fox, it was released by Fox Animation Studios, but by the time while they're still like producing the movie, they laid off about like my thing said like 300 of the animation staff. So a lot of the segments in this film had to actually be shipped out to other studios. One of those studios being Blue Sky, who would eventually,
which would basically end up becoming Fox's main animation.
Yeah, because they're responsible for.
Which is now owned by Disney.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I think we might have mentioned that on the last show.
Probably.
But of course, yeah, they're famous for Ice Age and Rio and.
They made the Peanuts movie, the famous lost episode of the Ink and Paint Club podcast that I will never stop mentioning and lamenting over.
One other thing I wanted to mention about the creative team behind it, there was 3 screenwriters for it. Mm-hmm. There was Joss Whedon, who I don't think we really need to go into, everyone knows who the fuck Joss Whedon is. He's got his hands on a lot of different pies. Him, Ben Edlund, creator of The Tick. And then, he did that. And then John August, who I think this is his first screenplay. He would go on to do a lot of screenplays for Tim Burton movies after this, for like Big Fish, Corpse Bride, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Frankenweenie. Also did the screenplay for the recent Aladdin remake.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so there's a lot of interesting names behind this. Not even like going into like the voice cast, which is
I was gonna say like the voice cast for this movie is basically a who's who of like late 90s, who was hot at the time, because you got like Matt Damon and Drew Barrymore, John Leguizamo, Nathan Lane, Bill Pullman, Janine Garofalo's in here, Ron Perlman's in here for a hot second.
Yeah, no, it's pretty rad.
Yeah, so it's like there's some really big names in this movie. Yeah, it's I don't know. I think part of the reason I like this movie is probably because it hit me at the right time. I'm 9 years old, and it's this big, space adventure with, ruffians and whatnot. But yeah, watching it this most recent time, I guess I never really noticed how like heavily reliant this movie is on CG backgrounds that are not good CG backgrounds. So watching these, I mean, it's Don Bluth, so Don Bluth is his animation and his team, are very good at like character animation and stuff. So it's like watching this very good this good character animation have to interact with this very fake looking CG backgrounds is this most recent time was a little off-putting.
I would say the only parts that I kind of found a little off-putting, not necessarily when characters were interacting with like the environment and stuff. It was mostly when they were like inside of like CG suits, but you could still see like the 2-dimensional person. Like that those were a little strange to look at. But other than that, I would really say, and it's weird, and I know this is because they shipped out scenes to like other studios, but like as the movie progresses, the CG, like the style of it changes. Like not even just like the quality, it's specifically the style. Like it's very strange. Like it's not. I wouldn't say it's jarring because I mean the whole movie's already kind of jarring in that respect.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
The one thing that was jarring to me was actually two things. One is who are the Dredge? Is that the enemy aliens?
Yeah,
right?
the Dredge, the energy aliens.
The energy aliens are all CG, and that was a little weird because I get why they're CG because they're like all made of like electricity or like they're made of energy. So I get that kind of stylistic choice behind that. But still, it's weird because every other alien species in that movie is done traditionally. So it stands out. It looks like they stepped out of like a episode of like Reboot or something. Like
they really do. And I mean, I think this movie has a lot of really interesting alien designs. I'll give them that much.
No, absolutely. In fact, I that's one of the things I really like about the movie is the alien designs. Like I kind of wish that every like. Well, we couldn't because then the story wouldn't make sense with all the humans and stuff. But I'd rather just watch a movie with all those aliens instead. Because, like, yeah, just the whole crew. Like, I liked all their designs; they're all great.
Yeah. Now, Kyle, you said this is your first time watching this movie. So, what was your take on it?
I noticed a lot of rotoscoping in it.
That seems to be like a thing that's consistent with Bluth's work, though.
Yeah. I definitely noticed a lot of like almost too fluid
well the problem
character actions.
Problem with rotoscoping is when they fight there's no weight to it because they're rotoscoping fake fights.
Yeah.
So the fights end up looking very fake. There's no weight to punches or anything.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I didn't think that was very good because, yeah, there's no weight to the fights. It looked very fake to me. Monster designs are fine. Honestly, I think the cast is garbage. I don't think that's really a who's who of people in the 90s. I think it's a bunch of garbage actors. I don't know if Nathan Lane is considered a fantastic actor when he's done Mouse Hunt.
He's on Broadway now.
The only thing he's really known for is doing Timon and Lion King.
Yeah.
Well, I like the producers.
Oh, that too.
But yeah, I mean, I can kind of get where you're coming from too. That was actually one of my little nitpicks about the movie too. Is that I do like the cast that they picked, but the performances are a little stiff in some places, and I'm not sure if that's enhanced by the fact that the animation on like the faces, like the lip sync and stuff, it seems like they're emoting too much. Like the actors aren't matching the energy that the cartoons are like, mouthing.
There was a few times where the sync was off.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if that was just on the copy that I watched.
Yeah, thank you. I was watching it this time and noticed like a lot of time the lip sync was like I like sometimes the lip sync was a half second behind or the voice was half a second behind, but I'm glad that wasn't just me who noticed that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was just on the copy that I watched or if that was actually part of the.
Yeah, that's weird.
One more thing about the. Oh, sorry.
Thing is, when you have deadlines and you gotta meet it, sometimes you can't fix stuff like that.
Yeah, and this movie had everything kind of running against it during its production, seems like.
Yeah.
If originally this thing was supposed to be live action.
I could see that.
Yeah, pretty bizarre. One other bizarre thing about the humans in contrast to the aliens that I noticed is that all the humans have like colored outlines and then like all the aliens have like hard like black outlines. That was a little weird. I feel like if they would have stuck with like just black outlines for the humans, they wouldn't stand out. Well, and the other thing too is that the stylization of the humans, like I get that they're trying to make them look more realistic in comparison, to the aliens, but I don't know. I feel like it doesn't gel well with like the creature design.
No, I definitely get what you mean. The human designs are really kind of I guess, scaled down in tones of like being expressive and stuff. Whereas the aliens, like, they definitely have a lot of that Don Bluth, like, over exaggeration. Like, one thing I've always noticed about Bluth's, the way he does facial animation, and there's a lot of teeth, if that makes any sense.
No,
You see a lot of teeth when people are talking, and it's like you don't notice it nearly as you don't really notice it in the human animation for this, because they're really kind of toned down, a lot more. There's a word I'm trying to find here, but yeah, the aliens, all their mannerisms, all their designs are way more stylized and expressive than the human designs are.
Which is why it's a little bit more forgivable. Like if the lip sync, like, or not specifically the lip sync, but just like the particular energy that the cast is putting out for like the voice acting and stuff, like definitely match the aliens more because they were designed to do that. Whereas the humans, it didn't gel well.
Yeah, and I mean, I think not everyone, has a stellar performance in this movie. I especially was kind of taken back by how really reserved Drew Barrymore was the first couple times she's on screen.
Especially because we just watched all of The Other Reindeer recently, and like,
right, and
I really love her performance in that.
And that was like, well, I think Olive and Titan AE were probably recording somewhere around the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like very just kind of chill in this movie, and she gets better as it goes along, and she kind of gets more invested in their mission. But especially when her character and Kale, Matt Damon's character, like meet for the first time, she's like so little fucks given about, or at least Drew Barrymore sounds like she couldn't be any more interested in what's going on in that scene. Conversely, I do like that out of all the voice characters, I think John Leguizamo sounded like he was having the most fun with his character.
A lot of people like to pick fun on John Leguizamo, but that dude has like some range, like in the particular characters that he can portray, like not just in voice acting, but also in live action. Like he's like probably like one of the better like character actors out there.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of like playing a character, I feel like John Leguizamo was like the only one on the voice cast that was like really like getting into their character. Because I mean, like Kale is like, it's Matt Damon, and like Corso is just Bill Pullman, but as an asshole.
I like the Janine Garofalo stiff, like she's kind of just like a blowhard, like really aggressive sort of.
She's just angry
because that's who Janine Garofalo is.
Exactly. So it's like you're getting. I mean, in terms of like the characters they're playing, you're getting who you're getting. So I mean, in that sense, it's to be expected. But I don't know, John, who's like, really kind of gave his character a voice and gave him a lot of tics and stuff. So I don't know. I thought I thought it was fun.
Yeah. We haven't even talked about what the movie's about, really.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it took me to like this one time, and it's probably just because I haven't watched it in a couple of years, that I kind of forgot like why the Dredge were like even hated humans so much. And I still think the reason for it is kind of stupid. But yeah, like humanity has just made the technology where they have built a ship that has the ability to create new planets. And for some reason, these energy-based aliens, the Dredge, are threatened by that, I guess, because it shows the potential of humanity. So they decide to try to kill us off rather than to stamp out our potential. So yeah, in the first like 2 minutes of this movie, you watch Earth be just obliterated, and humankind is like kind of scattered to the winds, until Kale is called upon to find this mythical ship that can create a new Earth. And and there's backstabbings and space fights and big bird people.
All fun stuff.
All fun stuff.
Yeah, so I knew that we were gonna get some sort of backstabbery. I was mostly expecting it from Preed, Nathan Lane's character, just because when you got a character that looks like that, I mean, that's if you watched any Don Bluth movie, you're like, okay, well, clearly,
yeah, you know he's gonna be a bad guy.
I wasn't expecting Bill Pullman's character to do it first, and then it turned out that Preed was like, for him, but then also he backstabs him too, so it's like double fuckery.
So that, like I'm fine with the whole, like, obviously Corso was gonna sell him out because you have that whole scene where he's talking to the Dredge Queen and kind of lays out his plan, and it makes sense that Preed's in on it. But then, like, just at the last second, Preed's like, JK, I'm triple crossing you. And I apparently had a conversation with the Dredge people too, and they said that if I kill you before they get here, they'll basically not kill me. So, I don't know. It kind of, that whole, like, second backstab kind of, I felt like came out of nowhere.
A little bit.
Yeah. It was
and then Bill Pullman just snaps his neck.
Well, because I mean, I'd be more fine if it was like Preed and Corso get there and they're all like, okay, we're gonna fucking kill you and stuff. But then, like, Corso has his change of heart still, and then Preed's like, well, fuck that, I want to live, just like Kent Mansley. Yeah, so I thought that was kind of strange. I also don't know if anyone else feels like this. I felt like the whole journey and finding of the bird people happened real fast. Because they get to the planet and they're like, we need to find the bird people. And then it just cuts to the next scene of the bird people standing in front of them.
There's a lot of weird pacing in this movie.
Yes, there is. It is not paced well. A lot of stuff just kind of happens. And they just kind of cut the stuff. Again, probably...
I don't really forgive that because of, all the production horrors I'm assuming that they encountered because of them having to ship out all these different scenes of different studios and, like, them not having probably nearly enough staff to, like, work on all of it.
Yeah. Another thing that, and I mean this with no irony, I kind of like the soundtrack to this movie.
The soundtrack is 2000s as fuck.
It is 2000s as fuck.
You got Jamiroquai, Power Man 5000,
Lit's on there.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
No actually. Creed was only used for the trailer. It was not in the movie, nor is it on the soundtrack.
It was too good for the actual movie.
It was too good for this. Yes, that's the only time you'll ever hear Creed is too good for something. But no, man, I had like the Lit and the Electricity song for this movie, like, on my iPod in middle school, because those are fucking bangers, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was rocking out a little bit listening to this movie today. Don't judge me.
It's your birthday. Nobody can judge you.
It's true. I'm gonna be 29. No one's allowed to judge me. But yeah, I don't know. As I've gotten older, I can definitely recognize the issues with this movie, and even knowing about its troubled production. Like, I think I was reading there was supposed to be a video game that went in here, but they canceled it because the movie was so poorly received.
No, that'll do it.
But yeah, like I even knowing all of its problems, both in the movie and outside of the movie, I don't know. It holds a little nostalgic corner of my heart, and I like watching it every now and then, like enjoying how hokey it is, and I don't know. It's dumb, but for me it's dumb fun.
It was dumb fun. That's a good way to sum it up.
Yeah.
There's better Don Bluth movies out there, but this one's definitely the most stylistically just interesting because I don't know that I've really seen like, especially because it's made in the late '90s and it's combining like all this CG with all this traditional animation. Like it is definitely nothing that looks quite like it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, is there anything either of you guys wanted to mention before we wrap up here?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Matt.
No, it's just can you take me higher?
No, but I can take you to the end of this episode.
I think we should go. We should go
Okay.
there.
All right, guys. Yeah. All right. Before Matt starts belting out any more Creed, thank you all for listening. Us talk about this dumb movie. We will be back with something probably better next week. But stay tuned for that. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks you two guys for being here and indulging me for a week.
Happy birthday, JD.
Thanks. But we will be back next week, and we will see you then.
See you then.
Thanks for listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to keep up with the show. Join our Discord to chat with us, and subscribe to our Patreon for some cool bonuses. Links are in the description. We'll see you next time.